Borno governor meets President Buhari, raises alarm over massive influx of Boko Haram terrorists along Benue-Nasarawa border. Vice President Osinbajo inspects facilities at National Center for Disease Control's reference laboratory, expresses optimism over better healthcare delivery system post-COVID-19. Also in the news, South Africa COVID-19 variants found in 4 African countries, just as Donald Trump impeachment trial to start next week. Now, Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State has raised alarm over what he called the massive influx of Boko Haram terrorists along the Benue-Nasarawa border, jeopardizing efforts at maintaining peace and security. The governor was in the State House to brief President Muhammadu Buhari on the worrisome situation and the way forward. State House correspondent Adam Musombo reports that problems associated with COVID-19 in roads infrastructure were also discussed.
You are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
You are so close with Suha.
Yes, sir.
This is the first formal engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule in the year 2021. The governor is here to thank the president for his prompt intervention in dislodging the Boko Haram elements that settled and wreaking havoc at the border between Nasarawa and the FCT.
When I came here the last time, I appealed to Mr. President, and then the DSS, police, Air Force, Army had a joint operation, and they were able to dislodge them. When they dislodged them, a lot of them were killed, some of them ran away and leave their members of the family. We took hostage about 900 members of that family into life here. Now they have gone back and gathered at our border with Benue, and they are causing a lot of havoc. Therefore, it was an opportunity Mr. President wanted to know, so I briefed him, and I strongly believe, just like decision was taken last time to take care of this, another decision will be taken to do this.
Governor Sule also used the opportunity to show appreciation to President Buhari for approving the utilization of the ecological funds towards constructing a road linking Uke, Karshi and the FCT aimed at easing the traffic congestion along the Kefi-Abuja highway.
But what will solve the problem once and for all is if we have additional road from Gitata, Panda, Guruku and Mpape. That one will solve 2 of our problems. One, it will go ahead and reduce the traffic jam along these 2 routes that we have at the moment. And then it will also open up the area for development. In fact, you can call that another Maitama. That's the second Maitama because it's very close to Maitama once we do that. So we came specifically to appeal to Mr. President to take over that road. The government actually discussed it once at the ESCO meeting and took a decision. But I came to see if we can expedite in the commencement of that work.
The governor also briefed the president on the devastating effect of coronavirus on lives and livelihoods in the state and solicited the support of the federal government towards controlling and containing the pandemic. From the State House, Adam Musombo, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army has enjoined candidates for the short service and executive commission courses at Volgore Forest in Kano to be prepared for deployments to war fronts in any part of the country. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa was at the ongoing selection exercise as the forest now reports.
These are civilians aspiring for the Nigerian Army Short Service Commission, Course 47, while these soldiers are candidates for the Executive Commission, Course 1, 2021. Successful candidates for the Short Service Commission will proceed for a 9-month training at the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, while those for the Executive Commission will move to Kachia for 4 months intensive training.
Have to make up your mind.
Addressing the candidates, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, represented knows that physical fitness exercise has been upscaled in the screening to enhance endurance and mobility.
If you know you are not ready to go and fight a war that we're in right now, you are not ready to go and be deployed in Maiduguri or in Sambisa or in Timbuktu Triangle, before we go anywhere, you can fall out. Nobody is going to force you.
We have to go and make sure that
a member of the Federal Character Commission from the presidency was at the screening to ensure compliance with the nation's quota system. From Faguri camp in Kano, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Still on security, major stakeholders in Zamfara state security sector have unanimously resolved that the peace deal initiated by the state government be sustained and reinvigorated to complement the kinetic approach to achieving lasting peace in the state. This is the major resolution reached at the end of an emergency meeting of the stakeholders presided over by Zamfara State Governor Bello Muhammad at Government House, Gusau. Halliru Muhammad Umar has more.
The recent resurgence of armed banditry in some local government areas of Zamfara state has continued to aggravate tension amongst the residents, especially the rural communities. Governor Bello Muhammad convened an emergency stakeholders meeting on security to examine the situation and to collectively chart ways of tackling the problem. The meeting, which lasted for several hours, particularly centered on reviewing the controversial peace deal initiated by Zamfara state government, as the governor engages heads of security agencies, traditional rulers, local government sole administrators, and religious leaders on whether to continue with the initiative or discard it. The stakeholders who took turn to talk on the matter and other related issues unanimously resolved that the peace deal be sustained and reinvigorated to go simultaneously with the kinetic approach, considering the significant impact it has made in the restoration of relative peace to the state.
Those that accepted our peace deal, those who refuse to subscribe to it, we tried.
The meeting, however, identified activities of the outlawed vigilante, informers of the bandits, and the politicization of security issues as the major obstacles of the ongoing efforts to achieving lasting peace in Zamfara state. In Gusau, Halliru Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
And in other news, ultimate aim of the federal government is to emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic with the nation's health capacity strengthened and the overall healthcare system enhanced. Vice President Jamil Osinbajo stated this while inspecting facilities at the Nigerian Center for Disease Control's reference laboratory in Abuja. State House correspondent Jide Unifadi reports.
The National Center for Disease Control has the mandate to protect the health of Nigerians from the threat and occurrence of infectious diseases. With the outbreak of COVID-19, activities of the National Health Agency have increased, and all eyes are on it to deliver on this mandate. The coming of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo to inspect the agency's laboratory facilities underlines this fact that the government and indeed Nigerians are counting and depending on it to finding solutions to the menace of COVID-19 pandemic ravaging the country and other infectious diseases.
So this new technology
Vice President Osinbajo was informed that the total samples tested so far is 1.2 million, with 116,000 plus cases discovered, and of the number, 21,542 are active cases. In the last few weeks, however, more than 1,000 cases are discovered on daily basis, which signifies improvement in the agency's testing capacity.
This very facility is a testament to the strides that we have made during such a short period. While we are not yet where we want to be as a nation, we are most certainly not where we were at the onset of the pandemic.
The Vice President, who is of the view that there should be more, is impressed by the achievement of the agency in a very short time, and in particular, the quality of staff and all health workers that are fighting the battle to keep everyone safe across the country.
Legacy. Every life that has been lost to COVID-19 is a major loss to our country. With this in mind, we will not relent until we assert control over the critical phase of this pandemic. I'd like to also urge all Nigerians to continue to comply with the advice of our scientists and healthcare professionals, and to continue to take every measure to keep themselves and their loved ones safe. We will come through this period of our history as we have come through all previous seasons of adversity, by working together, by protecting each other, and by believing in each other and committing to seeing better days ahead for our nation.
There is no doubt that we must continue to invest strongly in health security, and it is one of the biggest lessons of COVID-19 pandemic, and one that our country cannot afford to ignore.
COVID-19 has taken so much from us, but it has also given us an opportunity to break from the past and build back better, contributing to building the country of our dreams, starting right here in Ghana.
The visit, as observed, would have positive impact on the workers with more commitment to duty. In Abuja, Jude Onifade, NG News.
23 former central bank governors and former finance ministers from around the world are appealing to G20 to enact a debt relief for poor and developing countries to enable them tackle economic challenges associated with COVID-19. A statement signed by all the former central bank governors and former finance ministers indicates that COVID-19 crisis has forced many developing countries to deploy 30 to 70% of government revenues to pay off international creditors rather than pursue the broader challenges ahead. To this end, they called on the G20 and world leaders to provide debt relief to emerging markets and developing countries with unsustainable debt burdens so they can secure fiscal space to combat the virus, protect the vulnerable, and secure a green and inclusive recovery. They also supported a substantial new allocation of the International Monetary Fund's special drawing rights, accompanied by a significant increase in multilateral and regional development bank financing, aided by an increase in banks' capital. These measures, they believe, are necessary to finance health, social protections, and climate transitions for emerging markets and developing countries in need. South Africa COVID-19 variant found in 4 African countries, just as Donald Trump impeachment trial set to start next week. Let's join Jos Emetu for a global update.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control on Thursday confirmed 1,964 new cases of COVID-19 across 24 states in the country. Now, this represents the highest number of cases recorded in a single day, overturning the previous record of 1,664 daily infections reported on January 7. The latest figure brings the total number of confirmed positive cases in Nigeria to 116,655. The World Health Organization said Africa has recorded nearly 82,000 deaths due to the coronavirus in its second wave. Now, this figure, the agency says, is higher than that which was recorded in the first wave. Statistics by the Africa Centers for Disease Control indicates that the continent has a record of 3.3 million cases of the virus out of the 98 million registered across the globe. Meanwhile, 4 countries in Africa have detected a variant of the COVID-19 virus that was first identified in South Africa. The countries are Botswana, Zambia, the Gambia, and Kenya. The WHO's regional director for Africa attributed the spread to the movement of people across the continent. Let's turn attention to Hong Kong, where the country is set to place tens of thousands of its residents in lockdown as authorities battle an outbreak in one of its poorest and most densely packed regions. Reports say this would be the first time Hong Kong residents experience a full-blown government-enforced lockdown since the start of the pandemic. In another development, Donald Trump's impeachment trial over his role in the U.S. Capitol riot is poised to begin next week in the Senate. Republicans had argued for a delay, asking for more time to prepare. Mr. Trump's upcoming trial will be the only one ever to have taken place after a president has left office. From Iraq, we hear that the Islamic State group ISIS has claimed responsibility for the double suicide bombing that killed at least 32 people and wounded dozens in Baghdad. The admission by the jihadist group, made via its social media accounts, came several hours after the attack. And that ends this segment. I am Joyce Ometu.
Many thanks, Joyce. You're watching the news on NT International. More stories after the break. Do stay tuned.
Latest entrant, latest technology. Welcome to Intel 4G LTE Advanced and experience super fast internet access today. Visit intel.com.ng or any of our stores in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt to get started. Intel. Live more.
The National Identity Management Commission, NCDC, has commenced the National Identity Number enrollment for foreign diplomats in Nigeria. A statement by NCDC's head of corporate communications reveals that the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy gave the directive to set up an enrollment center at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Abuja, in a bid to ensure seamless enrollment of all diplomats in the country for the purpose of the ongoing name-SIM linkage and other exigencies. The Commission assures members of the public that all hands are on deck to ensure the enrollment of all Nigerians and legal residents into the National Identity Database. Deadline remains February 9th for those yet to enroll, while deadline for persons yet to link name with their SIM cards have until February 19th. To education matters now. The excitement by parents to see their children return to full study in the nation's universities is being threatened by an indefinite strike over unresolved issues, this time around with non-teaching staff of universities. The 2 weeks ultimatum, which will elapse on the 5th of February, is to give room for governments to address what the Joint Action Committee of NASU and SANU called lopsided implementation of collective bargaining agreements. Correspondent Emmanuel Anyimiro reports that it is no longer news that the disbursement of the 40 billion naira recently approved as earned allowance was at the ratio of 75% for ASU and 25% for 3 other unions. This has become contentious, which necessitated the Joint Action Committee of National Association of Non-Academic Staff Union of Education and Associated Institutions, ASU and Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities, SANU, to embark on a 3-day protest over the allowance and other issues of concern.
Of the 2009 SANU and NASU agreement with the federal government, the first tranche of 30 billion was paid in 2013 through the due process of the councils of the universities who disbursed the payments to deserving staff. In 2017, witnessed a breach of due process. ASU was allocated 80% and other unions 20%. The implications of the releases of these payments on the end allowances are: 1, due process and the autonomy laws were breached by excluding the governing councils in the payments.
NASU and SANU have listed 7 other issues not yet addressed in the collective bargaining agreement reached with the federal government on the 20th of October 2020. Nnewi, the industrial hub of Anambra State, was Friday morning thrown into pandemonium when a truck loaded with diesel went up in flames at a filling station along Nnewi Road. The fire, which raged through gutters, spread to shops along the road as fears of the fire spreading to residential buildings threw residents into panic. Eyewitnesses say the incident occurred as the diesel-laden truck attempted to discharge the product to a smaller tanker at the filling station. The generator hose being used for transfer was said to have pulled out, causing the diesel to spill on the generator, which ignited the fire. The Nnewi Fire Service was said to have quickly arrived at the scene and succeeded in putting it out. No life was lost in the incident, but all the dispensing meters at the filling station, a motorcycle, generator, and the long truck were all burnt, among other valuables. The federal government has inaugurated a 17-member committee to develop protocols for the evaluation of herbal medicine in a bid to find a local solution to COVID-19 and other viral infections. Nnewi reports.
At the wake of coronavirus pandemic, many traditional medicine practitioners made claims to have developed substances to cure COVID-19. The situation generated concerns in many quarters, prompting the federal government to direct its expert committee on protocols for the evaluation of herbal medicine to certify such claims.
This expert committee is drawn from various stakeholders with relevant expertise in the field of research. The inclusion of traditional medicine practitioners is a testimony to government's commitment to develop and promote traditional medicine.
Protocols for evaluation of herbal medicines will ensure the right quality of raw materials, production processes, control, packaging, transportation, and storage of herbal medicines.
With the release of 10 billion naira by the federal government to support research and production of local vaccines for COVID-19, the committee is hopeful that formal integration of traditional medicine into conventional ones will hold much promise for the future.
The huge amount of knowledge that is trapped in this country, if we're able to open them up, we won't be looking for any outside drug.
So we want government to promote us. We want government to tell Nigerians that, look, the time have come for us to begin to use our local content, our local product.
The committee also urged Nigerians to adhere strictly to the precautionary measures against COVID-19, as advised by the PTF. In Abuja, Nnewi, NTA News.
And in other news, the role of youths in governance is critical to the development of any nation. That is why exposing them to necessary leadership skills such that will affect societal change cannot be overemphasized. In driving this, stakeholders at a symposium organized by Lead Generation Initiative believe for the youth to impact on governance, they must be actively involved in grassroots politics. Charles Alpha reports.
The desire to get involved in Nigeria's political space continues to gain grounds in a bid to be heard while adding value to governance. The symposium by Lead Generation Initiative in Abuja was targeted at developing a platform to help youths identify their roles in not just promoting quality leadership, but how best the interests of people like Mary Jane Ujungwa and Biodu Joshua can best be represented.
I'm here to get to equip myself with the necessary to be able to be part of leadership.
I believe that our problem is not the government in Nigeria. I believe that our problem is orientation. And what Lead Generation teaches us is how to be able to take responsibility in your immediate environment.
In realizing these objectives, former Speaker House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara, along other speakers, were of the view that youth must be ready to serve and take responsibility through active participation in the socio-political process of their fatherland.
And the truth is that what is the centerpiece of influence is character. If you don't have character, there's no way you can influence people.
Leadership is not about selfishness, it's about caring for other people.
We must no longer speak about the youth in the context of the future in this country. We must speak about the youth in the context of the present, of the here and now.
The symposium by the Lead Generation Initiative may be all about making the voices of young Nigerians heard to take up skills and responsibility. But why the leaders of tomorrow must start leading now through political participation was topical. The symposium and unveiling event had participants from the 36 states and the FCT through visual link. In Abuja, Charles Alpha, NTA News.
The Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, AVM Mohammed retired, has challenged academic institutions to intensify research in the areas of disaster risk reduction and mitigation to reduce the high level of devastation being experienced across the country. The Director General stated this when he received a delegation from the Nasarawa State University, CAFI, led by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Olayemi Akinwumi. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu reports.
The magnitude of devastation occasioned by perennial flooding and other related disasters have continued to raise concerns among stakeholders with a view to finding lasting solutions to the incident. This, the NEMA Director General says, all hands must be on deck to tackle the problem. He told the delegation to, as a matter of urgency, develop a mechanism that will see to the total reduction of loss of lives and property worth billions of naira.
Then whatever problems, whatever challenges we have, we are going to solve them scientifically. If we have Nasarawa State University, why do you want to go too far to get solutions to your problem?
Leader of the delegation and Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Olayemi Akinwumi, promised to assist the agency do whatever it can to achieve its desired projections. He congratulated the DG for the achievement within his short time in office.
We can find many ways of collaborating in terms of research, collaborating in terms of cooperation. And we are really ready to offer what we have at the Institute.
The meeting also identified other areas of mutual interest and collaboration for the effective management of disasters across the country. In Abuja, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
Next is a check on Saturday's weather prospects for Nigeria and some cities of the world. And those are the stories that made the news at this time on NTA International. Remember to always connect with NTA to stand against rape and rapists. On behalf of Shegun Ajayi on Sign Language, I am Lami Ali, thanking you for your time.
Hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Tradition is expressed in arts and crafts.